record to the cloud. There we are. Fatma, should I give a couple minutes to let others join? I think you're on mute there.
Hey guys, it's Jolene. I'm on here. Good morning.
Fatma, I think you're on mute.
Hi, Jolene.
Hi there.
And did you say I should wait a couple more minutes to let others join? I wasn't sure how many
Yeah.
would join.
Yeah, just 10-2 or something, 10-3. That would be awesome.
Okay, sounds like a plan. I'm gonna type in the chat pod. Good morning. Yeah, and if you have a sec to type in the chat pod, just let me know what you do and what you're hoping to learn this morning, and I can be sure to highlight some of those things for you. I got some good content for you, but always like to customize it too. And I love to know where everybody's focus is as well. And actually, let's see.
Hello.
I'm also curious what your experience with LinkedIn Learning has been so far. So if you have used LinkedIn Learning before, or lynda.com. I was a big lynda.com user too.
I am.
So, yeah,
Okay.
Everybody's on.
Bye.
If need be. But yeah, I go back to the Lynda days. Has anybody had experience with lynda.com or used LinkedIn Learning before? Curious.
Yeah, I actually use Lynda with my library, my public library account. So it was free access to Lynda, and I loved it because I was able to really develop my own personal interests even before I started working here. Yeah.
My previous job, I worked at Verizon before this. They provided lynda.com, and when they announced it, I didn't really know what it was, but I got in there because I started. I wanted to learn video editing, and I was able to learn so much. I learned Adobe, I learned Final Cut, and then some of these newer telecasting softwares like Camtasia.
Yeah.
So I definitely love Lynda content. And the good news is Lynda content's built into the LinkedIn platform too.
Yeah, I've been using Lynda since 1999, and I got to learn all software in the world from lynda.com. And because it was just expensive to be in a classroom, and it was hard to stay for 8 hours listening to an instructor and click here, click there, and then by the end of the day you can't remember what even happened there. So, but with Lynda, I found out that you can learn on your own. You can repeat videos, and the transcript and the exercise files really move your learning skills really high. And since then, I always recommend to anybody who wants to learn anything from the field, especially at that time, information technology. But you know, now Lynda, it's really expand for more than just technology skills. It's more than soft skills, and other than anything. Now I will just find on LinkedIn, so LinkedIn Learning. So I'm a fan.
Since 99, is that back when we had DVDs or?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Kind of like
and
how
at that
Netflix...
time I was in Egypt.
Okay, that's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
That it had that impact on you. And same, I actually took some classes recently, and I was in learning and development, and I was able to take some courses on LinkedIn Learning to supplement, excuse me, the courses that I was taking at school. And it was just, I was full-time work, and I needed that review. I needed a pause. So that was helpful. Excuse me, I'm gonna go on mute as I clear my throat.
No problem.
I think it's 10:05, and we might start the webinar. We have 11 participants, so that's great. Thank you everybody for joining us. And sorry for the difference time. That was my mistake. Not David, not Joe. That's mine. I own it. And in the next 2 or 3, in the upcoming webinars, we will have more organized sync, and we will more be concise with our time.
And you have a connection with me here. A quick introduction of myself. My name is Joe Moore. I'm your customer success manager. All my clients are higher ed, so my focus is the different departments on campus that have an impact ultimately on students. I think ultimately this is about student, but your personal and professional development all play a role into that. So it's something that I obsess over. And if there's any kind of gaps that are barriers for you leveraging LinkedIn on campus, let me know. And I probably have some resources or I'm looking to build some resources for you. I did want to make some call outs. I was looking at the chat pod and I saw that we have, we're looking for relevant LinkedIn learning courses for faculty. So I've got some of those for you. I did see that we have alumni affairs, and I actually just created some resources for what I call the student journey. And there's some resources dedicated to alumni, but there's also some resources dedicated to each year of the student journey as, students are in different places. So trying to address that students are in different places, but ultimately wanting to help students get jobs. Alumni has a bit more of a focus. The content that I curated for alumni has a bit more of a focus on some mentorship and then career development, and then also some touch-ups if they're still looking for work or maybe they're looking to transition. So I got some content there. I saw that in the chat pod. And just want to make sure I cover everything in there. So with that, I'll jump in, but I really appreciate everybody jumping in. I will pop in the chat pod too. I have a link to the presentation. So if at any point you think I'm going too fast, one, you can type in the chat pod. I'll keep my eye there. Two, this entire presentation is, it contains links. So you'll notice that, for example, this is interactive. And that means that you don't have to memorize everything. So I'm going to link this in the chat. I can also link it at the end, but it's got the presentation here, which has links in it. I mentioned some resources for student affairs. And so these are some of the resources that I have here, which has links for this student journey here. Idea here is I'm hoping to remove barriers for you so you don't have to do all the curation on your own. That's my job. That's what I do. So I got that link in the chat for you. I'll provide for you at the end too. For the agenda, I wanted to cover just actually getting in the product and showing you where some things are at. So I'm going to show you how to find content. I'm going to show you how to share content. I also want to show you some of the features that are built into LinkedIn Learning. Fatma already touched on some of those features, but they can go unnoticed and they are the most powerful things on the platform. These are features that help you stay focused. They help you play along. So you're actually getting experience with the learning that you're doing. So I'm going to highlight those things for you as well. We'll touch on personal and professional development for both staff and faculty too. Some tools that you have in your toolkit.
Richard, I just have two quick questions, if really quick for the order. Are you going to be recording, number one? And then number two, we are seeing your desktop. Is that okay? Is that the screen we should be seeing right now?
Which I was, oh shoot. First of all, thanks for pointing that out. I thought I was sharing my presentation.
Because when you were noting a few things, I was like, oh, I don't see it. And then as far as the recording, I tried to hit record for you, but it won't let me. So that's the other piece.
Okay. I do have it recording, but I'm really glad that you pointed out that I wasn't sharing my screen. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, sir. Yep, we can see it.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad you caught
If there
that.
were other slides, you can maybe cycle back. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So this should help a bit more. But luckily you caught me before I got too far along. Just kind of covered the agenda there, and good timing because this first slide here, just wanted to, there's always that why behind things. I want you to be familiar with how LinkedIn Learning ties to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network, and we're able to catalog skills and look at gaps between, hey, where are people at now? And then where are they trying to go? And are they having trouble getting to where they want to go with the jobs that they're applying for and skills? So we have this whole skills data set, and then we have data scientists that help us pick which content that rises to the top. And we're always using that content to pick fresh content for LinkedIn Learning. And you'll see this stat here. This is just for students, but I think every campus is really focused on student success. And what you'll notice is that 11% of students are more likely to graduate rate and get a job right when they graduate. 11% higher. We're also seeing numbers way higher than this with students that use LinkedIn Learning. This is a conservative estimate. Some campuses have it way higher. So the more students are familiar with using the LinkedIn platform, LinkedIn Learning to gauge where they're at with skills and doing their own skill inventory and gap analysis, the more likely they are to get hired. And we're seeing the numbers rise as we continue to evaluate. So just wanted to share that with you, give you some confidence in the content and how we even select that content. And this is just what we look at as a student journey. I won't bore you with reading too much from this, but this is what we analyze. We actually have analytics on all these things, and then we can prescribe strategies for improvement here. So if at any time you think that there's perhaps a gap on campus, you can let me know, and we can work together to address some of these things. But if career services, student affairs, and faculty are using LinkedIn Learning, students because it's one platform, they begin to do some of these things organically. So we usually see organic growth just from having some of the content in spread around campus. When we look at for faculty, so I'm going to bounce around between faculty and staff. The good news is that there's tons of overlap for both parties here. But when we look at adding content into the classroom, there's some good opportunities to make your life easier as an instructor. Students tend to come to class with different gaps. They're all in different places. I know for myself, I was never great in high school, and then when I came to college, there was these big gaps for me to fill. So if you notice some common themes, some areas of remediation, there's probably LinkedIn content for that, and you can just have that in a little document or in the syllabus. Hey, if you're struggling with this, or perhaps in your if you have an LMS that you use, you can just have a list of commonly common areas where students are struggling with. It could just be grammar, it could be writing a report, bibliographies. Another area students tend to struggle with is citing their sources. So we have some great content there. When we look at hard and soft skills, this could be collaboration. Sometimes students, and perhaps after a year of pandemic learning, the ability to work together could be compromised a bit there. So we do have some really cool courses on soft and hard skill development. To make all that easy for you, I do have some resources for you. I'm going to share, it's in this deck, but essentially you click it and it'll have commonly requested higher ed specific content mapping. So I'll have that link for you in a little bit. As far as career services and student affairs go, I mentioned that I have this little resource for each year. This is designed to be a gradual process for students, recognizing that a freshman or a year one student isn't going to have they have to work on decision-making skills at times. Whereas down the road, come fourth year, come alumni, when they've actually graduated, they're just in a different place. LinkedIn has some really cool content to help students understand things like applicant tracking systems, how artificial intelligence or machine learning is filtering them out. These are really important concepts that students need to grasp, but recognizing again that those first year students aren't quite ready for that. So we start talking about that around second and third year, and then solidifying it in fourth year. It's just this gradual process where students can kind of float around here. I got that all ready for you. It'll be in the resources. And I am keeping my eye on the chat pod too. So if I'm going too slow or too fast, let me know. So I'm going to pull up LinkedIn Learning. I usually have a little link here. There we go. And I want to show you and familiarize you with some of my favorite parts of a course. So I'm going to log in here. when you look at a course, if you just were to watch a course straight through, it wouldn't be that engaging. What you want to find the value in is using the tools built right into the platform. So there's things like exercise files, there's controls to slow down, rewind, and then even follow along with transcripts. So I'll show you some of the tools that we have built in to make this engaging. We know that just watching a video can be hard. So we got some cool tools there. So I'll pick a course, and actually I'm going to pick one that I know has some content in it, and I'm going to use Premiere Pro because I took this course recently. And so for me, I wanted to brush up on my video editing skills. It's a hobby for me that I've kind of turned into something I use at work. Let's see here, watch the full course here. So I'm going to pause this, and I want to bring your eyes to the overview section. So under this overview section, we've got course description. We've got a course description here, but we've also got exercise files. And this is where the rubber meets the road. So when I click show all, you'll notice that I can download content to play along. So I'm able to download this, watch the instructor do it, and then I do it myself. And this is where I'm really able to build skills. Now you'll notice that these exercise files are available for various courses. It could be a one-pager that you get. This can be particularly useful if you're in class or you have a subject in class and you don't have a one-pager already available. You may find that you have it available on LinkedIn Learning. I always check the exercise files almost first. That's almost the first thing that I look at because I want to be able to play along. And I know that's the kind of learner that I am. As you look at the overview, you'll get your course details here, your learning objectives. For career services, it's always nice when let's say that you're working with a student and you know that they have a skill gap. I always take a peek at the skills covered here. This is a healthy part of doing a skills inventory if you're really helping coach a student here. So I like to take a peek at these because these are going to be the skills that are added to your students' skills inventory on their LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good spot to do a skills inventory, and it kind of automates that process for students. So these are powerful. Students do get a certificate of completion, and so would you. So it helps you inventory those skills, and great to have that inventory done automatically on your LinkedIn profile so that you don't have to do any additional work. We have Q&A built in. Now, this is never going to replace an actual in-class instructor. This is more about questions like, hey, I just started to use an iPad Pro. These are really in the minutia questions, but what they really do is they help solidify that knowledge and boost, because it's another way to be social about the way you learn. We all know that technology is moving at lightning speeds too. So let's say that the instructor covered one version of something and it updates. You can go, hey, it's not in this version. And then the instructors generally keep an eye on these. And if they don't, then some of the other participants can hop in here. I've learned some really cool things. I've gotten some free software that I didn't even know existed because I was active in the Q&A. Notebook's great, as in it's not just a notebook. It's going to timestamp what you're typing, where you're at in the video. And this is great for just knowing what you're doing. And if you go, hey, I know I was in this video and I want to be linked right back to that time. And or you say here, like, I want to try this, or this is a thing I don't have on my computer. So some kind of note to yourself. It's going to timestamp it. So it's a really smart notebook that you can export should you need. For those of you who are curating content for others, this can be a really important play for you. I'm going to bring your eyes over to find in transcript. This is huge. Let's say that you're looking for a keyword. Now you can search in this video or the entire course. I've used this quite a bit. When I'm trying to recommend content to my clients, I want to make sure that I get really specific. So once I drill down, I find the course that I'm looking for. There may be a specific word in the course I'm looking for. So I'll just look for that and it'll search the entire transcript for you and then show where that's at. When you're looking at the transcript, really cool too. So let's say that you find that word you're looking for, you can actually click it and it'll take you to a timestamp of that. Really, really intelligent, really cool, super seamless. And David said, great tip. So I'm glad you like that. It is cool. I think they just added that a couple months ago. You're going to notice we're always taking feedback. And actually, I do want to highlight too, if you ever want to give feedback, there's a little feedback button on the very bottom right. I love when my higher ed clients give feedback because we have a lot of corporate clients, but we need to have that voice of the higher ed clients as well. So if you give feedback, it does do wonders, and we take action on that stuff too. So any questions about courses and some of the content in courses there?
I have a quick question. So Joe, if you do that search, the find in transcript,
Yeah,
are we able to link directly to that? Let's say we want to share that with someone else.
that's a really good question. And I've actually been pushing for that. Let
Mm,
me see, copy. You can't link to that exact time, although I'll show you some tips I'll show you some tips on how to, let's say that you share content, you can put a little note if you create a learning path, but I've requested that. So definitely give that feedback because it's feedback that I've given too. And I'll double down on your feedback for that too.
okay,
Good
thank
call.
you.
I know yeah, you're welcome. I know on YouTube you can do the like equals T and then have it skip right to the time. That's not available yet, but it should be for sure.
Mhm.
So good question. I'm gonna hop back over to the live demo here, or the deck, just to keep me on track here. So next would be finding content. I want to give you some tips here. I do have in the presentation just like a really stripped down document that'll give you tips on finding things on LinkedIn Learning. It's intuitive. However, you just got to be mindful. I'm going to blow this up too. Just be mindful that in front of you, if you're looking, so I'll just kind of pick one of these courses. I'll do data science, for example. When you're looking for content, just go down the list here. So I think we're all kind of used to Google just doing everything for us, but you want to take advantage of these filter results here. And my strategy is generally, I'm going to minimize these, and then I just go one by one. In this demo account, I have some different content by providers here. This is a demo account. You'll just have LinkedIn Learning, and then you'll have your institution's name too. So you can say, hey, I just want to look at LinkedIn Learning content, or I want to look at LinkedIn content and custom content that our institution has uploaded. In this case, I'm just going to look up LinkedIn Learning. Now I filtered one item. Next filter, it depends. So let's say that I was looking for something to help me inside Excel. I'm probably not going to want to watch the entire course. So I can click video if I want, and that'll narrow down my results to videos. But let's say I wanted to do courses. I'll just do courses in this example. We can also search by level. Hey, I'm a very beginner when it comes to data science in this example. So now I've went from, I think the beginning results were like 1600. Now I'm at 160. It's much easier for me to digest. And now I can get specific if I want to limit to time. If I want to look at a specific software, I can do that. Let's say I just want to look at Python.
Joe, I have a question.
Yeah.
So the search inside LinkedIn Learning is really good, but when I checked, when I do it from Blackboard, it's kind of more limited. So if I went to LinkedIn Learning and I found exactly the video that I want to add for my class, if I click the share button and I got the link and I add it to Blackboard, would it really bring the video to my class?
Yeah, it will. So let me see, I think the share button, you have your share button here where you can click share. Let's see. It depends on which way you want to do it. There are some, you said Blackboard, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it sounds like there's something built into Blackboard to help you share there. Many of my clients will open in a new tab and then they will,
They take that
Um,
link.
yeah, they'll take the link. That's one way to do it. If you really want to get to, if you really want to get into specifics, there is an admin account where you, in the admin account, you can share what they call a single sign-on link. And I think that removes like one step for the
Yeah,
student.
we have single sign-on. We integrated into Blackboard. So everyone in class, student and faculty, they will be able to link it from their courses. But my question is the search inside the course is not really as good as here. So
Yeah.
if if the faculty went to LinkedIn Learning from LinkedIn, and then they found the video that they want using that search settings, and then get this link and insert it in Blackboard, it will work still, right?
Yeah, it'll still work. And that's my recommendation now, is to use the LinkedIn Learning platform to grab your links and to share
Okay.
from. I'll show you some other share techniques too if you want to
Okay.
collect videos and then share them like more than one. Blackboard, when we integrate with an LMS, we almost have to depend on the LMS to tie into. So it's really up to them on how they implement things too. It's a partnership, but
Yeah.
we do have to wait for them to come up to date on some of the ways that they allow their platform to pull our content. And I think that can be a barrier. So I always say, hey, just hop into the LinkedIn Learning platform, and the search is going to be easy. You're going to get the most up to date links, things of that nature. That would be my recommendation. Good question. And there's one other thing I want to show you. So, say that you searched for a skill, a subject, or a piece of software, and you went down, you did all the things that you need to do. You filtered by content type. You said, hey, a video or a course. You can also use this search over here, sort by. So this is important too. If you want to go with whatever we provide, so let's say you look at it and go, this makes sense, I like it. But let's say that you look at May 2019 and that you go, I don't know if that, especially in computer land, I don't know if that's going to still be relevant. So what you can do is go up to this sort by, and you'll notice a few other options. You can do best match, which we currently have. You could do view count, and that's going to mean whatever you find is going to be the most popular. And then last but not least is newest. When we talk about computer software, newest might be the way to go. Say the video is so new that it hasn't had a chance to become popular, and it hasn't had a chance to become this best match yet. So you may want to search by new. Now, I just did that when I looked for an update on some software. So if I search by newest, you'll notice that we have content that just came out 4 months ago that is data science related. But perhaps if you're just beginning, this might make sense too. So wanted to point out some of those things when it comes to searching. In the guide that I'll provide you, it'll cover this search strategy. Then I'll also have some commonly mapped knowledge domains that you can click through. It's an Excel file, but at the bottom, you'll notice that there's tabs, and then you can click on your discipline or your area of focus, and it'll just pull up content that's relevant to that area. So it could save you some searching. And actually, I think it helps to see this too. I'll show you in context what that looks like. Pull this up, making me go back here. So that's how you find content. And I think this next slide where it talks about the content mapping, and I'll try to show you in context here what I mean about content mapping. So I showed you how to use the advanced filters. In the guide that I'm giving you, it'll cover that same thing. So it's a really minimal guide, nothing too fancy here. I just made it in PowerPoint. And then I've got where you can click here, and this will touch on student success, art, creative, faculty development yourself, project management. I'll have some other, these are the most commonly requested areas of focus there that we typically see on campus. And then the National Association of Colleges and Employers, we have the top 8 competencies that tie to the NACE competency mapping. So those are already done for you. And last but not least, let's say that you still aren't finding what you're looking for. You can download this. And let's say that it doesn't matter where you are on campus. You could be trying to tie content to your courses. You could be, let's say that you're on the L&D team, learning and development. You may want to tie to a program that you're running. You can download this. And essentially what it is, on one side, you say, these are the learning competencies that we want. You send that to me. I send it to a team that's dedicated in doing this. Give me usually 1 to 2 weeks, work weeks. I'll have them finish it and then I'll send it to you. You just fill out this, and it's got a template. So it's gonna, it looks a little bit like this, where you put in the competency here and then we fill these out. So you can do that, and that's linked in the presentation too. So you can snag that as well. So as far as sharing content, Fatma had some really good questions about that, and I'll show you my strategy for doing this. Typically, when I hop in, depending on what mode I'm in, I may be in, hey, I want to learn what courses are out there mode. When I'm doing that, and I don't have a course in mind already that I want to take, I will start to just see what some of the new courses are. And then I'll actually click on this save button because I'm not ready to learn yet. I like to kind of go over these and then I'll put them in a collection for myself that I can look at later. So for example, let's just say I want to learn learning design sprints. So this is something like L&D related here. I'll click on the save button and I'm going to scroll up. I'll go to my learning. And you'll notice that I have, these are all this is the content that I'm in progress with, but this is the content that I'm saving. So generally, I'll have a really long list of content that I've saved. Now, if you've saved a ton of content, it's no good to you if it's not organized. So the next strategy I have is add to. You're going to have collections available to you. And as you can see, I have these collections that I've built. So I'll actually show you some finished collections that I've got. I have a ton of these because I have students at different levels. I have faculty with different needs. I have staff with totally different needs too. So I have a ton of collections. And you'll notice some I have 1, 2 items. There'll be some where I have 5 items. And it's really easy to just put them in collections. So there's these 2 tabs where I'm usually bouncing between these 2. And you have the ability to share these, or you can just keep them to yourself. So generally when I'm building them, it's just visible to me. Or if it's just for my own development, I just keep it visible to myself. If I want to, I could share it with my professional network, which I don't usually do, to be honest with you. But what I do is I share it with my clients. So I have these all LinkedIn members. This is anybody can get this link and come here. So I usually use this. This is what I would recommend using with students. You'll be able to share this, or let's say that you want to share it with other staff members that roll to you, or just you're trying to help out staff. You could copy this link, and then when they click it, it'll have them log in and then bring them to something that looks like, I'll show you a more robust collection that I have. And this is a collection of videos. And then I also have, you can also put courses in here as well. I have a little bit of information here that I wanted to provide as well. This is to students, but you get the idea. So these are great. One of the most common things that was requested is control who sees what. There are some advanced ways of sharing content. Let's say that you want some reporting. The way that I showed you, hey, this is just sharing it. If you want to get fancy and get some reporting, you have the ability to be turned into what we call a curator. When you're a curator, you'll notice that this is just like the page that we had before, where, hey, you're navigating LinkedIn, but you'll have an extra button called the add button. This will let you upload your own content. It'll let you create what we call learning paths. And learning paths are, they allow you to have, hey, I want my video first. I want a link to a relevant article, and then I want a video from LinkedIn Learning. Then maybe I want a course. You really get to control the flow that learners experience. And this would exist outside of your LMS. So you would link students to this, and then it would just kind of flow. This is something you can do, and it allows you to get reporting there. An admin would have to give you permission to do this if you're interested in doing it. But a lot of my clients, so I think for on campus, the question is, why do this versus another platform? I think a lot of people pick this because it's just easy. The platform is, it's easy to navigate. It takes a little bit of getting used to be honest to you, but once you get used to that, it's just simple. It works on phones, tablets, so the end user just sees content and they can scroll through it. They're already on their phone probably anyway. So it's probably just a little bit easier, but something to put in your toolbox if you want to use that, if it makes sense for you. I built a lot of these. And again, if you have this curator role, you pick who sees the content. You can keep it available to anybody on campus. We never share outside of your instance. So in other words, you wouldn't be able to share this outside of your institution, but you can share it with anybody on campus or just have it direct link only. So you only want it available to a course or to a certain program, certain audience that you're sharing it with. You control that. You get advanced analytics too. So recommendation, insight, progress, things of that nature. So this is a new tool that we're really excited about. Just giving you another tool in your toolkit. Last but not least, we'll talk about personal and professional development. And I'll give you a couple examples of professional development for learning, but I think we're all in different places and we all may be interested in different things. After last year, you probably know how to use Zoom. So some of these, what's crazy about skills these days is that they change so fast. And when a new piece of software comes out, or there's something new that you need to learn, or there's a new hot topic, you have the ability to hop in and learn those things. I think a lot of people are learning Teams now. Teams got really popular. You may be taking your online teaching to the next level. So let's say you got used to everything last year because you had to. Let's say that you want to move into video. I think video is huge. Being able to share screens and control things so that learners can see things. You may want to learn a new video platform. So Camtasia may be on here. That may be a great thing for you to learn. These are just some examples for you of professional development. We do also have a course it's taught by a faculty member at a different university. He's a professor that's on our platform, and he talks a bit more about just what it's like to be a faculty member, how to advance your career. And then if you have side projects, some faculty members want to be published. They have a pet project that ties to their curriculum, to some of the more academic sides of their career. That's a side project. They want to be published, something like that. Talks about some of those things too. So there's some really great courses taught by industry leaders that you can take a peek at. But some other ideas to give you, but a lot of times it's something that you need to work on. With professional development for staff, it may be a bit different. Sorry about these text things here, they're really tiny, but it may be a bit different. You may want to have an onboarding program. Say you're typically hiring for a program and maybe you have high turnover rate. It could be students you're working with and they leave, they graduate, things of that nature. You can make content and learning paths and then scale it. You do it once and then just give it to students or the workers as they come. So it may be great for an onboarding program. And I'm gonna get off that slide because it looks bad. It could also be performance reviews. The cool thing about LinkedIn Learning is that it allows you to be prescriptive with performance reviews. We've all been in a situation, at least I think we have, all been in a situation where we've had a performance review and you walk away from it going, okay, what kind of feedback did I actually get out of this? So this is actionable feedback. You can say, hey, look, we know that you need to build up on this skill. You can do a skills inventory because of LinkedIn, and LinkedIn Learning looks at the skills that you have. And you can look at those skills and say, hey, here's where you are, here's where you want to be. Let's work on this together. And then you can start to prescribe videos that are on the platform or empower learners to find those videos themselves. We have some resources for you to make that streamlined and easier. If you click on the little guide button there, and that looks a bit like this. Just to streamline that process and make it easier on you so that you are being prescriptive and you're actually filling skill gaps. And Richard asked the question, can you earn CEUs, continuing education units approved by professional bodies for any course or for any of the courses? And the answer is yes. Jolene popped that link in there. Thanks so much, Jolene. And it's actually a really timely question because I got a little demo here, but Jolene popped in the chat pod the link. You can click on any of these areas here on the presentation I have too. And here are some of the certifications that you can keep. CompTIA, HRCI, the SHRM, and these are just some examples. This site is always going to be up to date, but we also have continuing education units too. Really, really good question that I want to show you too. Let's say Camtasia. I'm just going to type in something random and search. I'm back on the platform. I didn't show you this, Richard, and I'm glad you brought this up. I can double check to see on the filter results. So right here on the side of the search, I kind of did that fast. So I typed in something just to pretend that I was looking for something. For continuing education units, you can actually check to see if these are valid for the continuing education that you're looking to maintain. So in this case, NASPA has a couple courses that you can use here, nothing for PMI, but you could just type in a different search here, try to find those. The link that Jolene put in the chat pod will help you navigate that too. It's actually an interactive link that you can, once it loads up here, you got two tabs here that I want to show you. Certification prep, and then continuing education. You might not, it's not obvious, but if you click it, it'll actually bring you to those continuing education programs. Even cooler is if you click on those. So I'll do NASPA as an example. It'll scroll down for me all the way to NASPA. It's doing that without me touching it. So when you click on this, gives you a rundown of what that certification means. And then you can click on C.A.L here and it'll pull up this for you. So that should make that really easy for you when you're looking to do that. Great question. And Jolene, thanks for popping that in the chat. Next up is content for well-being. We've all been through a crazy year, and just centering yourself, finding ways to become more sane. It's going to be a bit different for everybody. So we've offered a couple suggestions for courses, but different people are going to be in different spots. We have amazing content from leading professionals out there who focus on different things. It could be personal finance. Maybe that's going to get some stress off your back. I know it would for me. Could be you're worried about your career and you really want to become organized after a year of not knowing what's going on. Could be imposter syndrome. That's a big one for a lot of people. Could also be things like, it's not on here, but we have some courses on sitting at like how to sit at your desk properly, which I'm not doing now that I think about it. Breathing at your desk, exercises that you can do at your desk. There's a ton of great content for you. And I suggest that you just kind of look for things that you may be interested in, but to help guide you, we do have some examples here for you. Passion projects, by far my favorite way of learning. This is a focus I have with students too, is that you can learn things that you want to learn. And then there's these unintentional skills that you learn that end up applying to your professional life. And a lot of you probably already know that, but I know students don't really get that. But I do want to touch on just the beauty of learning things that you actually are interested in and having that professional guide you, having those exercise resources. It's fun. So video editing, photography, piano, guitar playing. You may want to get published, something you've always wanted to do, or maybe you want to be a better speaker. You name it. take a look at that as well. These are some options. So we've got some jump off points for you, but I think a lot of people fall in love with LinkedIn Learning with this passion first, and then they start to see the things that they love, and you kind of begin to evangelize it just having used the platform. I have some links for you. This is a newsletter I created just for faculty. And the idea here was to provide faculty members with faculty experts, people who know more than I do about being an instructor, courses that might help you. And you can click on this link to download this. I really like the course strategies for teaching in higher ed. This is, I watched it and I learned a lot, but I think it looked holistically at being an instructor, and it looked at things that you care about that aren't just going to be in class, that have an impact in class. So I thought this was a really great course. This is all curated for you, and you can click on that to download. These are grab and go. If you feel like you have students in class who could benefit from some of these wellness topics, if you feel like perhaps students need a little kick for creativity, confidence boosting, these are grab and go pieces that you can put in your class. Let's say that you have your LMS and you have a little, hey, here's extra stuff for you. You could grab these, just copy the links and put them in there. And then some additional top skills that students need to be successful as well. So I'll pop into Q&A mode, but we've had some really good questions so far. But I'll stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to put the link for the presentation in again so that you have it handy. There is the link there. And I'm just kind of taking a look at the chat pod. David just had a question. If you were to curate your own learning path for UDC faculty, does it produce a certificate of completion? That's a feature that we're working on. And I know I was actually in a beta for that feature, and it worked for me. I think currently right now, the certificate of completion isn't generating. They wanted to fine tune that system. If you do create one of those and you want a template for a certificate of completion, let me know and I can send you one. Just tell me, we can spend some time together and then I'll get it to you. We can fine tune it together like over a 15-minute meeting or 30-minute meeting, David, but right now it's not built into the platform, but I do have some templates that I can share with you. Yeah, you're very welcome. Oh, you know what, David, good question. I'm gonna put in my email in the chat pod. Very easy. It's my name at linkedin.com. So yeah, feel free to shoot me an email. And I would love to know anything that you learned today that you think you might borrow or build on that's useful, or anything that you didn't get yet. If there's something that you're interested in, please let me know.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for leading this session because I learned a lot of good tips. As we curate these resources for faculty,
Yeah.
I also like that we can also put our own content in that learning path. I think I didn't know that before. So for me, that's really useful.
Yeah. I'm gonna jot down. Fatma, you're the admin. Are you familiar with giving Curator access?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, and so she is the go-to for that, and she can give you the access there. I also think that there's a little Curator. It's honestly really intuitive. I'm gonna give you a tip right out of the gate. As you're creating these learning paths, save often. It doesn't auto save yet. I've totally built a few and then just walked away and didn't hit save. So save often. But other than that, it's honestly super intuitive.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, you're welcome, David. Okay, and I can give everybody time back in their day too. Thanks so much for the thoughtful questions, and thanks for using LinkedIn Learning. we'll have, I can show you some sneak peeks too, actually. I saw a question, but I think everybody likes sneak peeks. So I'll show you some sneak peeks at some new content that's coming up here. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I will show you that. And then I'll go back to the chat pod too. I think someone raised their hand. Okay. Just to wet your whistle on what's coming up next as far as content goes. Some highlights that I want to make, I didn't point out, but we organize our content into buckets. We do business, technology, business, technology. It's in the area. In order to highlight my screen, I always use Windows snap tool or snipping tool. It's cool, but it was getting in the way there. There we go. Technology, and then creative. We always do in these buckets. But here's just a preview of some of the content that's coming out. If you see anything interesting for you, remember we make this content based off of all the skills that it's the world's largest professional network. So they're always looking at those, what's hot, and you can always count on the fact that it's going to be the most up-to-date content here. So some really cool tools, boosting creativity, brainstorming, UI, social media. I won't read through them all, but a little preview for you. If you download the deck, you'll get to take a peek at that. There's also higher ed is getting some new features in 2022, which sounds like a far way away, but it's not. There'll be some newer tools to have deeper integrations with Canvas, Blackboard, D2L, and so for us it'd be Blackboard, but that's coming. No work required or anything like that. We're going to help with that in 2022. So I just wanted to do a bit of foreshadowing there. And that's it. I think I saw someone raise their hand, but feel free to drop off if you want to. Other than that, thanks a ton and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
welcome.
Joe.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Very
All right.
welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.